doesn't, it kills Azusa. But so Chris has played, I mean, the Amulet Bloom decks in the main deck are pretty similar. The interesting things, he's playing his copy of Dragonlord Dromoka in the main deck. I think that's a big nod to the Grixis twin style decks, and the Delver decks they use. The utility lands, he's decided to go with 2 copies of Cavern of Souls, so he has a second one in there. He's playing the Colony Garden and the Radiant Fountain as his other utility lands today.
All right, we got a stomping ground off of a Windswept Teeth. Garberg's going to go down to 17, play Noble Hierarch. That's going to kick off round number 4 here, our last round of Modern for the day. VanMeter number 14, our Open Series leaderboard. Garberg looking to pull a bit of an upset here with his Zoo strategy. He's a little bit of a bigger Zoo deck, a little Brian Kibler-esque influence here. You've got Knight of the Reliquary, 4 copies of that card. That said, we're going to see what Chris can put together. And this is my first time actually getting to watch Amulet Bloom in action, covering an Amulet Bloom match. So I'm excited as he's going to start off with just a Teleria West.
So it looks like he has 2 copies of Summoner's Pact, he has an Azusa, so he has a lot of mana and he has Titans. The question will be how many bounce lands he has and how fast can he deploy them here.
That's a Voice of Resurgence, a Windswept Teeth, and a passing of the turn. VanMeter will draw.
The early game is all about just counting to 6, how fast can you do it.
This is a Serum Visions. Take a draw there. Pick up a copy of Radiant Fountain, so Chris will scry. Cavern of Souls among the cards that he's looking at. Do we like Serum Visions in this deck?
Yeah, Serum Visions is great. You play 4 of that. You play 4 copies of Ancient Stirrings, and you'll want all of them.
You just need a little bit of manipulation to find the stuff.
Yeah, so you actually, sometimes it's hard to find the actual combo pieces, and because you're playing bounce lands, any 1-mana cantrip, you usually can find a spot to weave that in between your other cards.
VanMeter will play a basic force and just pass the turn, but Garberg is going to sacrifice that Windswept Teeth. Go down to 16. We'll see if he wants to get a non-basic untapped here or not.
So an interesting thing here, if he knows the deck he's on, is that whether or not Tully will leave up a burn spell. So what Chris can do is he can play, if he has an Azusa next turn, but if his next land is a bounce land, maybe that's the only other land he has, what you can actually do is with the trigger on the stack, if you kill the Azusa, Chris won't get he'll only get 1 additional land drop instead of 2, because she'll be gone before the bounce land trigger resolves.
Gotcha.
So if Tully leaves up burn here, he can make the Azusa a ramp of 1 instead of a ramp of 2. But he has to be aware that that's what he's doing right now.
Instant speed burn in the deck, 4 lightning bolts and 3 lightning helixes. There are also 3 copies of Dromoka's Command, so I suppose that counts.
Yeah, I mean, those are going to be great. But if he wants to get around just the natural Azusa, now granted, Amulet play 1 or 2 Azusas, so that's not huge.
You saw the attack with Voice of Resurgence for 3, Noble Hierarch providing the Exalted, and now there's a Tarmogoyf. We'll check the sizing on that as VanMeter will grab the die. It's going to be a 2/3 at this point. It's just sorcery and land in the graveyard. VanMeter will take a draw step.
Yeah, so he's left up burn. That's good.
Azusa the draw.
Yeah, second copy of Azusa is not good here for Chris. The issue he's having is that he actually doesn't have additional land drops to make with his plays right now. He's just not getting to 6 any faster than turn 6 at the moment.
Serum Visions drew a copy of Summer Bloom, and now we'll see what the top cards are. Don't get a great look at them.
Yeah, so what the Summer Bloom means, it is not much here. It does mean that he just may not use any of these Azusas. If he's looking for bounce lands at this point.
Yep. This deck does play plenty of them. Simic Growth Chamber, 4 of those, 3 Gruul Turfs, and then like a Rot Farm. Wow, a Rot Farm?
10.
It's 10? A Celestial Sanctuary and a Boros Garrison.
9 green ones in the Garrison.
Okay. Garrison, of course, for the Slayer Stronghold.
Yeah, Garrison's the one that you never want to draw, but you need for the combo. You play a white and a black one. Black so you can play for Slaughter Pact. The white one so that you have alternate ways of activating your Slayer Stronghold in combination with Gruul Turf. Also, it helps with some of your board cards sometimes. But the blue and the green one, the blue and the red ones are the big ones. The Gruul Turfs and Simic Growth Chambers.
VanMeter still getting to work on the scry here from the Serum Visions. You see he's got the copy of Slayer Stronghold in hand.
Yeah, so sometimes drawing your combo pieces is not exactly where you want to be. It's not going to hurt Chris at all here.
Just the lack of some bounce lands here may, though. That might be the issue.
That's what he needed in this hand. The interaction between extra land drops and bounce lands is very nice because you can just actually, a lot of times you just are a Summer Bloom deck. You play a turn 2 Summer Bloom, then you play 2 bounce lands and replay the stuff that your lands, and okay, then you get to 6 on turn 3 actually with just the card Summer Bloom if you have the land drops.
Radiant Fountain is the land that was played, so VanMeter's going to go up to 19.
Yeah, this will be nice because if he draws a bounce land, he can use those extra land drops to just start replaying Radiant Fountain a bunch of times as he works his way up. But the lack of bounce land is still getting to him. I mean, it's turn 3 and he's played 3 lands.
Lightning Bolt goes upstairs, which grows the Tarmogoyf. VanMeter's going to go down to 16. Garberg's going to search up a land here with his Windswept. He thinned his deck out a little bit. They consider hopefully he can continue to draw burn spells. Temple Garden is the land he searches up. Zoo, all things considered, a very honest deck in Modern.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not flashy.
no.
There's nothing exciting about it. Doesn't mean it's bad though.
I expect it's good against, especially as people get to more things like these Grixis twin decks. This deck's very low to the ground to try to play a tempo game against.
And Kolaghan's Command is not good against these creatures.
No.
There's an attack for 5. Pass the turn back. VanMeter's down to 11. He's got to do something explosive.
He needed to draw a bounce land that turn. He drew Hive Mind, which he does have 2 green packs, so that's not a terrible draw. I think he's going to be 1 turn short of being able to kill here. Like, he's going to play Azusa as a chump blocker.
There is Azusa.
So if he draws a bounce land next turn, he can Summer Bloom and play both halves of it and play it twice. Then on the following turn, he can play Hive Mind and play 2 Pacts, and then hope to dodge any upkeep burn. But I don't think Chris is going to get there in time.
I don't think he is going to either. Let's see what we have here. It's going to be a Noble Hierarch.
His hand was pretty reasonable. He had a Blue Source, a Serum Visions, an Azusa, and 2 Summoners packs. It was a good start. To not find a bounce land was unfortunate. There are 10 of them.
He's rubbing the hands together.
Yeah.
Ugh, he drew a copy of Pack Negation.
Yeah, I mean, also if he'd found an Ancient Stirrings would find a bounce land very easily. So a lot of things have missed here for him.
He's got a couple copies of Summer Bloom in hand at this point. Yep, he's just got to concede the game. So Tully Garberg is going to win game number 1 here over Chris VanMeter. Naya Zoo up a game over Amulet Bloom.
Yeah, that certainly is a steal for Tully. Now, I don't think these things we'll see how much better they get after sideboard. This is still recoverable for Chris.
We're going to start with Chris's sideboard because one thing that this deck can do is it can go to just a normal game plan. You don't have to be all in on the combo like the Hive Minds or anything like that. We've seen players like Sam Black and Justin Cohen at Pro Tour Fate Reforged say, you know what, I've got like some Hornet Queens and some Thragtusk, and Chris actually has access to some of those cards.
Yeah, so Chris he's going with 3 Thragtusks and a Hornet Queen in his sideboard. So you'll see him get away from the Hive Mind combo. Hive Mind into Summoner's Pact doesn't actually win very well against Zoo. They can pay for it. So you'd need to have 2 packs in Hive Mind. That's just a little much. Also, making Thragtusks is just good against Zoo.
It's great.
Right. You can win that way. So I expect he'll board in all these Thragtusks, all 3 Thragtusks, a Hornet Queen. I think we'll get away from Pact of Negation. I think we'll get away from Hive Mind. That's 5 cards to cut. I would also expect to see him get away from some number of Azusa.
Taking a look at Tully's side of things, he's got a Celestial Purge, a Scavenging Ooze, a Hushwing Gryff, a Thrum the Last Troll, a Rending Volley, a Kataki, War's Wage, an Eidolon of Rhetoric, and a Wear Tear. Those are all singletons to go along with 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Spellskite, and then 3 Leon's Sanctities. I don't know if there's anything exciting here to you. I'm not excited about very much of this stuff.
Hushwing Gryff is good here. It's good against Primeval Titan and Thragtusk, so
Okay.
that'll be fine. Now, Titan will still get lands when it attacks, so it's not totally turned off. But it will stop them from entering the battlefield and getting value there. I think he wants to get away from boarding in a bunch of artifact destruction. I see people sometimes do that because of the card Amulet of Vigor. That's dicey at best. I think he has some pretty big, some cards he may want to get rid of more. Dromoka's Command's pretty poor here, so maybe he brings some of them in anyway. But his board is not ready for this matchup.
We will talk regionals now as these players get ready for game number 3. August 1st, we've got a bunch of dates available at Summer Regionals. You can find the corresponding location for you. But what's most important here, outside of having a fantastic tournament and the locations that are available, is we've got an awesome playmat for you guys and awesome prizes coming. But this is the notable one. This is the Ellen DeGeneres, kind of the play on the Oscar photo, I believe.
Yep, it was a selfie photo from the Oscars with lots of big names, big faces. Well, for Starcy, we have all our big names here. This is the whole creature collection coming out.
These are our big names. These are our big faces, excuse me, and all available on one playmat. August 1st is when regionals will be. So go to starcitygames.com/regionals for more information about this. At the very least, we have our locations and the awesome playmat available for you guys to check out as we get ready here for game number 2 between these two players. Chris VanMeter, number 14 on our Season 2 leaderboard. A player a lot of people are familiar with. The guy loves Stormbreath Dragon. He's got a great beard, and he's got a lot of Open Series highlights, too. 17 Open Series top 8s.
Yeah, I mean, Chris VanMeter, certainly known for kind of this red-green player.
Yeah.
And I do like one of our more honest, creature attacking players, I think, on the circuit.
Most of his successes come with, Junk Reanimator many, many moons ago. You think of Stormbreath Dragon and the wins he's put together with that card. A lot of his wins are highlighted by that card. And now he's working his way into the combo aspect of Legacy. Some of the things about Chris that you might not know: he's played college football in Spokane, Washington, a fantastic chess player. I know he likes to play chess with BBD in between rounds of tournaments sometimes. And he ran 2 successful Kickstarters, one with his Beard Power shirt, which you'll see in this feature match area, as well as the playmat that him and BBD, 2 very good friends, have put together. So definitely someone we see a lot on the Open Series, traveling to events when he's not working during the week for Star City Games. Love having him. And we're going to see if he can put together a W here with the deck he's been playing the most recently in Amulet Bloom. I mean, this deck is really something. I mean, people are really now starting to talk about, like, why is Summer Bloom still legal? Or is there a card that you can ban from this deck? I don't even know what card you would ban from the deck.
Well, it depends if you want to weaken it or just kill it. I mean, most of the decks you ban actually just... There are a lot of things that had to come together to make this deck happen. I mean, if you did get rid of Primeval Titan or Summer Bloom or Teleria West, you'll take the whole deck with it, or even Summoner's Pact.
Okay.
Just any of those would get it. I mean, Amulet, even taking Amulet would get it. I think if you ban any of them, the deck would leave.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, is this deck too powerful? I mean, we just watched a game like that where he just didn't really do anything, and then we watched games where you kill someone on turn 2.
Yeah, well, it has these turn 2 kills, which really are, something that is questionable how much of that you want to see. Now, that said, they are not that frequent. I would say, I actually played my first Star City IQ just about a month ago.
Okay.
With Amulet combo.
Okay.
And I played all the way up through the finals, and I think I turned 2 twice all tournaments. So 6 rounds of Swiss, 3 rounds of the top 8. And that feels normal, actually, about the deck. You win 2 to 3 games out of 9 rounds with it. So its staying power is actually just in the redundancy the deck has.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people kind of underrated about the deck is the staying power of the deck. A lot of people believe that it's kind of this all-in combo deck that it has to kill on turn 2 or turn 3, but with the sideboard that is present here with the Thragtusk and the Hornet Queens, and there's proof that it can actually play a longer, just more normalized game.
It is a lot more like a mid-range deck a lot of the time that has this really huge decision tree to it. I mean, a lot of your cards are wild cards. The number of things you can get with Teleria West, and the early decisions you make really affect your later turns, more so than I think a lot of decks that you play. Making the right color of mana is a very picky thing, for example.
You don't find that with a lot of decks either.
All right, we'll see where Chris wants to start, though.
He's going to start with Mana Confluence in a passing the turn. So no Amulet. You see the hand. There's a Hive Mind over there, and at least 1 bounce land this time.
So he's kept Hive Minds in. I did not expect to see that, but he does have a copy of Slaughter Pact in his hand, so that should pay off if he can get his way up to 6. A lot of times your turn 1 land, all it needs to do is not be a bounce land. You can never keep a hand with only bounce lands. Well, not never, but I mean, it has to be a kill the moment. I've done that. I remember playing a match against Arlax where he kept something where the first turn I drew my hand, send and said go. Which that means, like, that has to be, if I draw the land, you are dead this turn. It has to be that level of hand to keep it.
Okay. It's risky, to say the least.
It's like when your Belcher player keeps 7 on the play and says go on turn 1.
I've been
and you're just like, oh God, his hand's really good, isn't it? You're like, yep.
I just have to draw one thing, and then you're dead.
Not just kind of dead, just real dead.
Oh no, you're dead. There's a Gruul Turf, pick up the Mana Confluence. Pass the turn back. You saw Wild Mikado start things off there for Garberg, so he's got a 2/2. I have to imagine it will be a 3/3 here in just a moment.
Right, so if I'm on the Naya side, I expect what Chris has kept is either a Azusa next turn or a Summer Bloom next turn, preferably Summer Bloom. I mean, with Chris's hand, he could simply Bloom next turn, play 4 lands, and then turn 4, play Hive Mind Slaughter Pact. And that's probably fast enough.
There's Noble Hierarch. It's actually going to be attack here for 4. The follow-up is another Nikadal.
Yeah, that said, the Hive Mind, keeping in Hive Mind here from Chris was really greedy, and and drawing Summer Bloom was really good. He also had Azusa in his hand.
Yeah.
But it was really, like, it's going to work because he has the one of Slaughter Pact in his hand. But if you change that to any other pact, it just doesn't kill Tully here.
Yeah, he would have Summoner's Pact, for example.
Pact of Negation needs another card to be cast with it for that to work. And also, you don't have Pact of Negation in this matchup anymore anyway. It's not a good card.
Well, Summer Bloom was the draw, so we're all looking for some fireworks here, Chris, if you can provide them.
You'd prefer to play Summer Bloom here so that I guess Tully doesn't have any mana up for burn, so Azusa's also fine as long as you can play Azusa. You can play untapped land, Azusa, then you play bounce land. And you'd have to have 2 untapped lands to make sure that turn 6 you can make the Hive Mind. That said, Summer Bloom is usually just better than Azusa.
I have to imagine that's the case. It just seems more powerful.
You play Azusa because you're only allowed to play 4 Summer Blooms.
Sure.
You could just play 6 and play 0 Azusa. I mean, you can pact for Azusa, so there's a case to playing 1, but I mean, it's bad Azusa. It's bad Bloom most of the time.
Still haven't seen the Amulet of Vigor draw here, but...
Right, and that's the thing, what people remember playing about this deck is the times when the deck when the guys kill you on turn 2, but that's not, there's so many games where that doesn't happen.
Looks like he's going to go the Azusa route. So there is Azusa. So 2 extra lands can come down here.
Yep, he's got Bloom lands, so he's going to copy Gruul Turf with Vesuva.
We believe.
Or maybe he could be copying one of Tully's lands as well. Yeah, he's going to copy one of Tully's lands and then pick up Mana Confluence.
So this allows him next turn either play Titan
Yes.
or Hive Mind.
Right. I don't think he has Titan.
Oh, he has Titan.
Oh, he has Titan?
Yep.
Okay, he has both.
He's got both options rolled up right now.
Yeah, I mean, he wants some, so there's some insurance policy, right? If Tully doesn't have, Tully doesn't have black mana, so the play is going to be Hive Mind. Unless he doesn't have blue, he's blue on the Mana Confluence.
Yeah, on the Mana Confluence, yeah, so that takes care of that aspect of it.
He's got it set up.
There's Lightning Heals to take care of Azusa. Okay, we'll get 6 points of damage across here from the foil Wild Nacatls.
Yep, and that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, Hive Mind should get the job done here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised it's in the deck, but it's gonna win this game. That said, pretend the Hive Mind's not here, and you just have a Thrag Tusk in its place. I think this game is also good for Chris if he just plays a Primeval Titan this turn, the next gets a Teleria West, next turn plays a Thrag Tusk. That seems like a good game for Chris as well.
VanMeter drew a copy of Gemstone Mine for the turn. And I believe that Hive Mind plus Slaughter Pact should get the job done. He's going to take his time and analyze some things to make sure he's not making a mistake.
You need to not
perfectly fair.
You could get burned out in Tully's upkeep, depending on how many cards Tully has. I don't think he has enough red mana for that to be reasonable.
Yeah, only 1 Stomping Ground out there.
Yeah, it's just going to kill him, I believe.
Oh, we're going to have 1 6-mana spell.
Yep.
There's Hive Mind. Here's Slaughter Pact. And I will let you explain Hive Mind since it's such an easy card.
When you play a spell, everybody plays the spell. So what happens is Chris tries to kill a creature. Now Tully has to cast a Slaughter Pact as well. Tully's will resolve first, so he can't pick the same guy that Chris killed. So Tully's going to have to kill something. And then on upkeep, Tully's going to have to pay for it, which he can't do. He doesn't have black mana.
And if you don't pay for a pact,
you lose.
You lose the game. That's how it works. So Chris right now is going through what I like to call the Hive Mind dance, where you explain to your opponent exactly how Hive Mind works, because it's a little bit complicated.
The Hive Minds I own are actually Chinese, which is the worst. No, it's horrible. I need to get new ones.
That's truly terrible.
And the people are like, so what does that do? I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what I have.
Let me bring it up on my phone. Chris VanMeter is going to win game number 2 here against Tully Garberg. Amulet Bloom and Nyazu are going to get ready for a 3rd game.
Of all the cards to have in form, it's the worst.
That is seriously one of the worst cards to have in a different language. I'm not even kidding. I'm trying to think of other cards that are super complicated where you need to have them in English. It'd be like having a Chains of Mephistopheles just in a different language.
Yeah, like there's the promo textless Chains of Mephistopheles. Yeah, that'd be great. It's horrible.
While we do wait here for game number 3 very quickly, we will talk about the spring collection here on Star City Games. Of course, we've taken some of our things from game night and we've put them on playmats, on sleeves, and on dice bags. So you've got the bunny, which we're wearing on our lapels this weekend in honor of game night for June. The bee, the cat, and the delver of Squeakrits. StarCityGames.com/creature collection available for more information.
You've been practicing his name.
I have. Delver Squeakrits, I'm getting down. I'm really hoping that the next pun that we have is not as difficult, so I don't trip over my own words. But the cat, the bee, and the bunny, that's easy. The delver, a little bit more difficult. But at the end of the day, StarCityGames.com/creature collection for more information about how to acquire these awesome and very popular items. So, Chris is on the play here for on the draw for game number 3. Does he need to aggressively mulligan for a hand that includes Summer Bloom or Amulet because he's on the draw? Does he need to change anything? Or is it just kind of just do what I did last game and I'll be okay?
I don't see him changing up too much. There are a lot of things are, he could, because he's on the play, he could try to play Chalice of the Void, I suppose, if he wanted. He has an Engineered Explosives in his board. That's probably in the deck also. It takes care of a lot of 1-drops. You can search for it with Teleria West. No, I don't think him moving too much here. One thing that I do like that he's added is he has a little bit of a defense to Blood Moon this weekend where he's playing Chromatic Lantern.
I love it.
Which is good. I don't know if it's enough. but it's cool. It's cool.
So I don't know if it's enough either, but cool is
I
the
like
word I want
it.
to use to you. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, you were thinking outside the box, and so you brought out the lantern, and that's just awesome.
It does let you win after Blood Moon, and you can find it with Ancient Stirrings, so getting
True.
it is easier. That's an interesting one.
So the cards this deck basically like immediately like I know Blood Moon is a huge one. You're just dead.
Blood Moon's yeah, the card beats you.
Okay, so you're just dead to that.
Yep.
Are there any other cards that really like is a Fulminator Mage game over? Or can you
Did he hit a
power
bounce
through
land
that?
with it?
Let's assume yes.
I mean,
that they did.
that's pretty bad.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm not a big fan. Try to avoid that from happening.
Okay.
I mean, Boomerang's good. No, the cards that are good against this deck are hysterical. The worst one I've seen, I played against one guy at Mono Red. He knew that I was playing the tournament at our local stores. He played 4 Tunnel Ignis in his sideboard. That one's really hard to beat too.
That's
If you make an extra land drop, you take 3
Mm.
for each one you make.
That's cold. That's really
You like Primeval Titan? 6 myself. It's really bad.
Yeah.
You die.
That's shooting
that
below
one.
the hip.
That one I was like, come on, man.
Yeah. That's just low. Like, let's play a fair game. I'm not coming after you. You don't have to come after me with this kind of weird card.
I mean, it's really hard to beat.
Yeah. I do like that your deck is dead to Boomerang. I think that's awesome.
Boomerangs, yeah, that's bad news.
To be fair, if they're on the draw and have Boomerang, you could just kill them on turn 2.
Yep, that's play. That's the line.
That's
get them.
That's honestly one of the nice things about this deck. I don't know if Amulet Moon is a deck I would ever play in a tournament because I don't know if my mind really works this way, and I'm pretty confident that it doesn't. But the fact that people can go to hate cards like Fulminator Mage or Blood Moon and Boomerang and other obscure Tunnelingus, other obscure things, and you can just say, hey, I have a turn 2 Titan, nice hate card.
Yep.
That's actually
you can
a
just
real
win before
selling
they have
point.
their hate card. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
That to me, that's how you know you have a good combo deck. It's like they have a hate card and you just kill them before they even get to cast it.
The weapons I would actually expect out of Nyazu would be stuff like Molten Rain, an Aven Mind Sensor is what I'd be worried about if I was on Chris's side.
Okay. Remember, Tully's going to be on the play this game. Great place to be for the Naya deck. Can get started with a Nikadal, Noble Hierarch to ramp into something. He's going to take a mulligan for now, and we'll see if VanMeter wants to keep his 7 or not. It looks like he's happy enough. And again, remember, the thing about Amulet Bloom is he can just play a normal game. He can go Thrag Tusking and Hornet Queening. He's got some Pyroclasms in the board, which are okay in this particular matchup. They're not terribly exciting, but it is an option.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that aspect of the deck, too, that you can just kind of, again, play this normalized game. I know that, I remember Sam Black and just, they were playing like a Sigarda.
Yeah, so this is the build that we were on. Sigarda, Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah, that one, too.
Dragonlord Dromoka, Hornet Queen, Thrag Tusk are generally the ones you go to. You can sometimes see Thrun as well. If you're playing, there was a while where people were playing Kessig Wolf Run instead of Sunhome, and that's better if you have Thrun.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can just get through everything.
I saw a Dromoka's Command and a Path along with the Lightning Bolt there for Garberg. I don't know how good the hand is. He doesn't look thrilled, but he's got a Noble Hierarch to start. VanMeter will draw. It's a copy of Gemstone Mine. And I can see an artifact in his hand.
All right, so he may have Amulet this game. It appears he does. He'll want to keep that until the turn he actually, or now. I was going to say until he actually needs it. I don't know if he has a turn 2 play with it.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you, do you, if you have Amulet on turn 1, do you always play it on turn 1? Or if you just
Depends
wait?
what the rest of my hand's doing.
Okay.
It represents the mana ramp. I don't know if he has any bounce lands again. He has a Thrag Tusk and a Summer Bloom, so he might just be able to turn 2 Thrag Tusk, which doesn't win, but it's really good.
A turn 2 Thrag Tusk in the Zoo deck. If it's not good here, I don't know if it's good anywhere. There's
well,
a Primeval
plus 2 Titan instead. He has a Hive Mind in his hand again, which could help in a world where he's already winning. Well, what it means is if he gets Primeval Titan down, even if Tully has the path to exile for it, he can Primeval Titan for Teleria West and a bounce land, and he can transmute the Teleria West for a Pact, and then Hive Mind Pact Tully.
Okay. I'm going to try to keep up with everything you just said. It's hard. There's a lot going on.
Okay. You get 2 lands with a Titan.
Yes.
You get a Teleria West and then a bounce land. So bounce land, you pick up the Teleria
Pick up
West.
the Teleria West. Got
Transmute it for a Slaughter Pact.
Aha.
And then you do the same thing you did game 2.
Got it. We're just going to watch him play a Colony Garden, get a plant token right now.
And it's an untapped Colony Garden.
It's true. Thank you very much, Amulet of Vigor. Tarmogoyf the draw here for Garberg. He'll put that into play and pass the turn back.
Colony Garden, so you get about 3 utility land slots in the deck right now. And for example, what Chris has decided to go with is second Cavern of Souls, Colony Garden, and Radiant Fountain as the spots. And Colony Garden is typically in there as a defense against Liliana of the Veil. when you make a Titan against Jund, you will Titan up Colony Garden.
They try to minus the Liana.
Can't
You
do
sacrifice the plant token. You still have your 6/6. Makes sense.
Happens to be good against Zoo as well.
True. Here comes Tarmogoyf. It's an 0-1 into the plant token.
But you do see there are other, for example, other utility lands that people can play. You know, you can play another copy of Vesuva if you want to try to get, if you want to make sure that your combos work more often. That's something that you can do. There is, if you want to have the spots, you can have Kessig Wolf run an Inkmoth Nexus if you want to try to win that way.
I do take that back. Tarmogoyf, it technically is an 0-1, but Noble Hierarch has a little exalted ability. So Tarmogoyf is actually 1-2. So that's why Chris is at 19.
So Chris actually still just playing really blah magic. He's just playing a land each turn. If he manages to draw a bounce land, he'll have enough mana next turn to make the Titan. Also, he just can play Thragtusk, and he has a Torrent Queen in hand. He can just play guys.
Yeah, he can go crazy. And actually, he has a copy of Sunhome in his hand, the Fortress of Legion.
Sure.
So that's land number 5.
All right, so he can just make a Thragtusk next turn. Now, he does have to worry about this Gemstone Mine running out.
Yep. A real concern.
Yeah, I mean, his mana colors are, you know, your mana doesn't work very well. It's not, your mana's picky in this deck.
Yeah, this is, I think this match, win or lose, this is a display of, yes, Amulet Boom is very powerful, but he hasn't done anything insane.
I mean, he's playing a land each turn. Like, his first play of the game is going to be turn 5 Thragtusk.
Yeah.
And we're saying, oh, wow, that deck's broken. Like, that, he did nothing but play lands until on turn 5 Thragtusk. Like, the standard decks beat that.
It's yeah, most standard decks would beat this draw. Tully's draw has not come together all that well.
Yeah, he's on a multi-6. So, I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Mulligan's part of that's part of Magic.
But we're playing Modern, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
let's see what he draws.
Zeus, he's drawing horribly.
And he still may win.
Oh, yeah, he's got a Thragtusk, and then he can chump with it for a while. That's good enough.
Oh, he's up 21. So long as he does remember his Thragtusk trigger.
Has anyone forgotten that one? Sometimes you forget the 3/3, but do you forget the 5
No,
life?
no.
Do you just play it and you're like, oh, dang, forgot the 5 life.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened. Beast token on the way. Tarmogoyf's going to get a little bit bigger. That's actually a pretty good question. Has anyone missed the Thragtusk gain 5 life trigger? As many triggers as there are in Magic, and some people will forget exalted triggers and what have you, I don't think anyone's ever been like, oh yeah, I'm just still at 16. God.
Oh, I knew I was forgetting something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I played this card. What was I thinking? The good news is because of Amulet, any land drawn for Chris will be good here. And remember, he plays 27.
Yeah, he's in a very enviable position of there are very few bad draws in his deck. Let's see what he finds.
Vesuva, that'll do it.
That'll work. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it'll work. I just have to figure out what land to copy.
Well, so he can copy. He probably wants to copy Colony Garden, untap it, and then go ahead and make Primeval Titan. There's no dual land to copy. He'll get to untap no matter what he does, so Colony Garden's a free 0-1. He's going to go ahead and get my... The interesting, so what he can do is he can do that. He can go ahead and get Simic Growth Chamber and Teleria West. They both will untap. He'll tap them both, make blue, blue, green, bounce the Teleria West, and then transmute it.
That's the options this turn.
I think that's the line he's on, because then he'll be left with enough mana in play next turn. If he transmutes for black for the Pact, for Slaughter Pact, he'll have enough mana to cast Hive Mind and Slaughter Pact next turn.
All right.
So I think that's his line.
Here's prime time.
There's no reason, like he also, because he has Vesuva and Slayer Stronghold in play, he actually can't heist the Titan this turn.
Yep.
I don't think he'd want to anyway, just in case Path to Exile is in Tully's hand. Especially when he has this winning line already on the board.
This is more of a value Titan.
To be honest, most of the Titans in this deck are value Titans. You don't actually go for the haste. You don't need to. A lot of times, decks in Modern are not very good at dealing with a 6/6. You can just attack with him next turn, and it's usually pretty good.
And Chris is deciding what he wants to search up here. He's brought a Simic Growth Chamber to the front. He's analyzing his hand, because remember, he does have a Souza. He does have Hive Mind, also Hornet Queen in hand as well. He's got some real options here.
Yeah, this is just the easiest one, though. So it's, Vesuva, Teleria West. The Amulet of Bloom trigger Amulet of Vigor trigger will go ahead and untap both these. So he's going to have to bounce a land, but first he can tap them both for mana. He doesn't really need to present yet, because I think he's going to transmute immediately. That's one thing I always feel like, hey, I'll present at the end of the turn. I'm gonna be in this deck like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So hold on.
This is gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, So these people are supposed to like, well, I'm gonna shuffle it in. I'm like, that's fine. It's cool.
Here's our triggers.
Right, here's our triggers. They're going to untap off Amulet.
You see Chris is explaining that right now to Tully. So long as you let me, I will be doing this.
Yes, Tully does have, even if Tully removes the artifact, that doesn't matter. And actually, he's going to path the Titan. This gives extra lines to Chris because his basic force is in play. If he wasn't in play, the basic force would actually untap off Amulet, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that interaction, actually.
Yeah, if they path your guy, you get mana. And that's why you don't go for the haste lands. But you see these on tap. He's going to have to bounce a land, but first he gets to make mana, and it's just enough to transmute the Teleria West.
Got it. Looks like he's going to pick up Gemstone Mine.
Okay, so, well, he had a kill. The kill, I believe, is, he transmutes for Slaughter Pact, and then he has 6 mana on the table, a Hive Mind in hand, and a Slaughter Pact in hand.
But as it stands right now, he's
and
just
17, I don't think...
His life total seems pretty safe.
I mean, what he also can do here is he can do all of this post-combat. So he can Summer Bloom post-combat, play the Vesuva, bounce the Vesuva 3 times, because he can start bouncing bounce lands and untapping them.
Okay.
And just make extra mana, and then do that whole play, because as long as he uses his last trigger to go ahead, he can make more plays here. And you see, I guess we'll do them as they come.
All right, so now here's Summer Bloom.
So he has 3 more land drops. Vesuva's going to copy Simic Growth Chamber, untap, make blue-green. So he has blue-green floating, and then it'll presumably bounce itself. He has 2 land drops remaining.
So he can do this again and again.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 6 mana. This is 7, and now he has a Hornet Queen.
Sure.
Okay.
These are all good lines. He has a Hornet Queen. I was saying the transmute one I liked because it probably, these all win.
They seem like they all seem like avenues for victory.
They're all avenues to doing really powerful things.
He's got some. Oh, he's got beat tokens. What a master. Oh, and now, yes, the final kick in the face. Attack with the Todd Anderson Beast token.
The way you can think about it is that if you have a bounce land in hand, Summer Bloom with an Amulet in play is +4 mana.
Okay.
So it's a ritual that adds 4. With 2 amulets, it adds 10.
Got it. Well, how often do Zoodaks beat 5 Death Touch creatures?
They just don't even beat Hornet. I mean, does he have Fire Spout?
I find that to be rather unlikely. He does have a Net of the Reliquary, but it's a little bit outclassed on this board.
And one thing that Chris is making sure that he does is he's keeping the Vesuva in his hand,
okay,
so that he always wants to have a bounce land in hand so that he can use his extra land drops for additional mana. If you have no bounce land in hand, then your Amulet doesn't do anything. Also lets him pick up the Teleria West when he decides he wants it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Primeval Titan was the draw.
Sure, let's just do everything.
That was a good draw.
I mean, he probably didn't need... I don't think he needs to draw any cards. Yeah, Titan's great too. This game's Chris's.
It's going to be a tough one to lose.
I mean,
he's clearly in a very, very good spot at this point. But again, there's a lot of lines of play available to that. It's almost weird because there's times where it's like I don't want to overcomplicate things.
So see what to do. He'll go blue, floating. He'll play the Vesuva. It'll copy a bounce land. It'll untap. He'll bounce the Teleria West and transmute it. So now that uses all his mana, he's going to transmute. Now he's going to do the Summoner's Pact half. So he's going to transmute it for Summoner's Pact. The Vesuva's on Growth Chamber, so we'll have 6 mana in play, and he'll just go ahead and Green Pact works too. He'll go ahead and cast Hive Mind and then a Pact.
Well, Tully can pay for it. Noble Hierarch, 2 lands, neither Reliquary.
That's true. He probably should get Slaughter Pact.
If he's going the Hive Mind route.
Well, yeah, he can do a lot of things here. This one's not actually going to kill Tully, though.
So long as Tully sees the interaction that he could actually pay. He doesn't see it here.
No,
for what it's worth, even if he does pay, that's his entire turn.
Right.
And then there's a Primeval Titan happening and all this stuff. So Tully's not winning that game.
Right.
But I agree with you in that situation because he can pay for Summoner's Pact. You get Slaughter Pact, you kill whatever you kill.
You kill the Knight of the Reliquary.
Yes.
And then he can't go get the black mana even if he has one.
Correct. Either way, Chris VanMeter, player on your left with Amulet Bloom, has gone 4-0 through the modern portion with this very powerful and difficult to play deck, as you just saw there. Nothing easy about it. Now, there are some broken draws with the deck, obviously.